live. Good afternoon, and welcome to the longest. See, I screwed that up. We just literally changed the podcast name an hour ago.
I was like, ooh, what's going to happen?
Good afternoon, and welcome to the Longer Miles podcast, sponsored and presented by the Warrior Trail Foundation. And today we have the lovely Brittany Peterson as my co-host, and we have our guest today, Manu Vilaseca, all the way from Spain, correct?
Yes. Very happy to be here with you guys. Thank
Awesome.
you.
Well, we thought it would be really appropriate to bring Manu on to our podcast and talk about her longer miles. She just ran quite a few of them. We're going to let Brittany and I are going to have some fun talking to her today and learning about her first place female finish in the Triple Crown of 200s this year, all encompassing the Tahoe 200 in June, the Bigfoot 200 in August, and just recently crushing that Moab 240 in very nice and dry, warm, desert environment in Moab, right? I think we'll talk about that, but I don't think that's really the experience that she got this year. So, yeah. So with that, let's jump in and just talk about this amazing accomplishment that Manu had this year. 201 hours, 2 minutes, 6 seconds. And the old record was 230 hours, 24 minutes. And we won't even talk about the seconds, but over 30 minutes, over 30 hours faster than the next closest female. So, Manu, congratulations. What an amazing accomplishment. You want to tell us a little bit about this big journey and maybe start off by telling us why? Why does somebody sign up for the Triple Crown? I mean, I have my own stupid reasons, but I'm loving to hear your.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. And the why is because it's scary.
Yeah.
I think that's the main reason. I found myself like in a very low spot last year, beginning of last year, thinking that I had reached like the end of my career, that I wasn't going to run anymore. I couldn't find motivation. I felt like every race that I wanted to do, I had already done, and maybe I had already repeated. And I thought this was the end. But at the same time, it made me feel like really sad, because it's like I've been running for so long, and seriously, does it just like end up like that? One day you wake up and the love is gone and this is it, right? And then I realized it was like maybe I needed to change things a little bit. And then I coach an athlete who lives in Florida, who's Mac Jackson. And he said, "Why don't you have a look at Cocodona?" And I was like, "What are you like? What is like 250 miles? That's crazy, right?" It's like I said, I'm never gonna do more than 100 miles. What are you saying? And so I remember saying that, but then going online and on YouTube, I was like, okay, let me see what this is. And so I saw this documentary, which is called The Long Way Home. And it's with Eric Sensman. And the thing about this documentary that I find very interesting is that I found myself in the same place as Eric. Like, he was kind of injured. He was kind of not knowing if he's gonna retire or not. And I felt like I was in his place. And when I saw the documentary, like, I saw myself doing that. And I decided, it was funny because it was like I went from zero motivation to an obsession. It was like, I have to go to Cocodona. So this is when everything started.
That's fantastic. I'm very aware of that documentary. I've watched it probably about 8 times.
Good
It's a
one.
great documentary to survey the landscape and the course. And yeah, and Eric called it the long way home because he's from Flagstaff, right? He was running back to his house in Flagstaff. You should have just run back to Spain. That would have been, really, that would have been really impressive on top of that. But I mean, yeah, it's awesome. Tell me about how long you've been running. How did you get started in running? And how
Yeah,
old are you?
I'm 46,
46.
and
This is the only place I can ask a woman how
you
her
can
age,
ask. I'm okay with my age. I have.
safely.
Yeah, I think. Yeah. So my first trail race was 100 miles, and it was in 2019. And I explain why, because I'm a coach and I don't advise that. But I came from the world of adventure racing, and I was running World Series races that lasted like a week. So in my head, it was like doing 100 miles, it seemed like something very simple. It's just going from one checkpoint to another. Because that's what in the end, like in adventure race, you're doing like really long distances, and you're shifting like from mountain biking to kayaking to running, climbing. And I've done a race where I had to do like 100 miles from one checkpoint to another. So when I saw this, I saw it as something simple, and I saw it even easier, like because it was on my own, because adventure racing is something you do on a team. And then one of the reasons why I wanted to stop that sport was I loved it and I love everything about it. But if someone stops, if someone quits, the whole team quits. And I remember like there was a race, I got an infection and I couldn't continue. And I remember looking at the face of everyone on my team, and I carried, like, I had to DNF and the whole team had to DNF. And I carried that weight on my back for a long time. And that's when I decided, I said, I want to do a sport that depends only on me. And that if I quit, I have to deal with it. It's only my problem. And I'm not carrying other people with me. So yeah, that was my first race. And it was La Misión. It's a race that is done in Patagonia. And that was 100 miles. So it was December of 2011. That's when I started.
So your first ultra is 100.
Yeah. My
And
first race, my first running race is a
and
100.
only a few years later you're running Cocodona 250,
Yeah.
which probably, I mean, for most of us, that's a daunting endeavor. I mean, Brittany got to pace me to the halfway point last year. I've DNF'd it twice at Jerome, so I only know what the second half of that course looks like because I've run Sedona Canyon's 125 once, and that's the only way I've gotten to see the second half of the course. So tell us, what was your experience like at Cocodona?
Yeah. So it was completely different from everything I had done before. First of all, it was like, to me, it was a challenge in the aspect of training, because I didn't really know like how do you prepare this. It's not that I had a lot of time, like from the moment I was signed up for Cocodona and from the start of the race I had 2 months. And I remember like I paired with a media partner in Spain to talk about Cocodona, and he was like, "Are you sure? It's like you have 2 months." And that's when I realized, I said, you can't prepare 200 miles in 2 months, not in 6 months, not in a year or two. It's something I've been preparing my entire life to do this. And that's when I realized that it's a process of many and many, many, many years that will take you to do that. And that's one of the things I think that has helped me so far, is that I started a long time ago, and I've been through so many sports, right? So even though I had all that background and experience, it was like, okay, this is different because it's running and it's really long, like not sleeping, nutrition is like completely different. Everything is so different. But then ironically, I got injured and I couldn't run. So if my 2 months was short, it got even shorter. And I remember, like, I was so frustrated because Cocodona then became my obsession. And I said, I have to go and I have to race, and it has to be this year. Somehow I thought, like, I can't postpone this. The year is now, the time is now, even though I wasn't prepared at all. So I had to stop running, and I had to take like a route that was completely different and alternative, and that was cross training. So I basically, like, my philosophy was preserve your body for the race and add hours of training with cross training, and try to be as active as you can be,
Who's first?
but don't
Just her?
run. Yeah. So that was very ironic, and that was very risky. It was scary, but that was the only choice I had. I don't think, like, if I had tried to run at that point and prepare with running, I wouldn't have been in the start line. So yeah, that was my only option.
That opened the door to the Triple Crown of 200.
It did, because I fell in love with the distance. Brittany was there. She paced me. We had a great time together. And she knows how much I was happy. I was smiling. Like, if you look at all of my pictures of Cocodona, I'm having like a great time. Even the moments that I didn't feel great, I think I was laughing about myself. Like, I was always having a good time. And I realized, like, this is the thing, this is, I like this. It's like, okay, I want to stay here a bit more. Like, I'm not gonna retire now. And then, like, I function this way, and it's like, how can I go a little bit further? And that's when the Triple Crown came to my head.
I love it. I
So
love
I
it.
guess we can talk about, for those of you that don't know what the Triple Crown is, it's three 200-mile races all in one season. So it's Tahoe 200 in June, Bigfoot 200 in August, and then finishes up with Moab 240 in October. So that
Yeah.
could be a good segue into, I mean, that's a lot of race time to kind of reflect on, but I think you had very different experiences, or just a little bit of everything with all of those races. But I guess, do you want to talk about like the highlights of each race, or your favorite, or what kind of draws you, or what are the memories from your experience with the Triple Crown?
Yeah, sure. Like, to start with, the summary is like, it's the best time of my life, right? I think, like, the happiest I have ever been in running. And the other day I was asked this question, like, how is your relationship with running today? And I said, like, it has never been so good. Because I think in the past, running for me, even though it was never an obligation, because, like, I've been sponsored by brands, but I have never had like a contract that was, this has never been my job. So my contracts have always been like brands that are helping me to pay for the races, not to pay for my life. Which means that pressure is like, you have pressure, but it's not crazy thing that you have to perform. Like, you don't have to win all races, right? But somehow I had the feeling that running, most of the time for me, it was an obligation. Like, I remember going for a workout, putting my shoes on, and just saying, like, oh, sometimes it's like, I don't feel like doing this at all, but I have to do it because I have a race. And then now I feel it has changed so much, especially going into the Triple Crown, because I took this alternative route with the cost training with Cocodona, and I realized that it was good for me, because it's the only way that I can make it through and not get injured. With my age and my background, is like, you can't just go there and push it and run crazy amount of miles every week, because you're not going to start these races at all. So my relationship today with running is like, I see it as an opportunity. I think that's the change: obligation and opportunity. So when I put my shoes on, I see it as like an opportunity to enjoy, an opportunity to be happy. And that's what I carry with me, and that's what I carried with me throughout the Triple Crown. I was super happy in all the races, even though they had their challenges. And right, starting with Tahoe, as Brittany is asking, like, what's the difference and how it was for you? Tahoe was a race that I was working on Monday, and I was like doubling, tripling classes so that I could leave, because I don't have anybody to substitute me when I leave. So Monday, I was like doing classes on and on so that I could leave for that short period of time. Tuesday was a day that I spent on the plane, in the plane, and then I got there Wednesday, and then I had 9 hour difference. I was in higher elevation, so it was completely crazy. Like I started the race and I wasn't recovered from my week, like traveling and everything, which what like I paid a high price for that, because it took me like 100 kilometers to feel like myself. So the first 100K was super hard for me. I couldn't eat. I'm glad that I have Tailwind as a sponsor, because it's what I use, and it's what saved me, because I wasn't eating at all. So at least I had the calories in my drink. And then in 100K, I think that's when my body started functioning, and I felt like, okay, this is me, and I'm gonna go into the race, right? I had problems with my eyes, because I have this issue with my eyes that when the weather is dry and cold, I go blind, and I had it. So I was wearing sunglasses, and when it got dark, I thought the sunglasses were dirty. And when it got dark, I took them out, and it was my eyes and not the sunglasses. And that's when I realized that this was going to get worse, because I didn't have the transparent lenses with me. It was with my crew, and I had to go back to them. So I struggled with that, and it took me a day to see everything again. So I had to drag that for a while. So Tahoe was like very challenging, and when I see my pictures in the finish, like I had a good time. It was great, but I struggled with things that I couldn't control. Which is the part that is scary, right? Because like everything you can do, but then the rest is just like, okay, if you have a problem, just try to solve it. So that's what I did throughout the race. Bigfoot, learning what I brought from Tahoe is like, I can't leave on Monday, on Tuesday. I'm gonna leave on Monday. I'm gonna give myself an extra day.
Yeah.
And that made a huge difference. So I got there on Monday in the evening, and I woke up there on Tuesday already in the time zone. So that was like game changer for me. I got to sleep a lot. I slept like 12 hours before the race every night. And when I started, it was like a different me. Like it was me already. Thing is that the pace started off like fast. And I went off with that pace, and because I know myself very well, I was able to tell myself like, don't go. This is not your pace, and it doesn't matter like what they do. Do your race. Like you have a target for your time, and if you're able to get that target, that's a win. Like in the end, if you're first, second, 10th, or last, it's just a consequence of what you're prepared to do. So do what you're prepared to do. And that's when I backed off, and it was the best thing I did, because like the girls were just flying by, and I just eliminated like all the distractions. I focused myself in me, in taking care of myself, and just getting through each aid station. And on the second night, when I stopped and I slept a little bit and I woke up, I asked, how am I doing? Because I didn't know. And I was second. And I was like, what? Because I didn't expect that at all, because I was passed by so many people. Thing is that people go off fast. And I think that's the part that experience plays like a big role, because that's when you tell yourself like you know what you have to do, and you don't get carried away by other things. Just focus on your race. And still, this distance is like new to me. I can't go crazy, because I had done Tahoe and Cocodona. It's like, come on, right? Maybe you were lucky, so just respect the distance and do what you have to do. So that when I found out I was second, I was like, I'm up. I got a Kit Kat. I said, let me celebrate with a Kit Kat. And now I'm going. It's like, bye. And I and I left and I was super focused. No pacer on that race, which was good for me. That's when I realized that I didn't want to have a pacer. And now I explain why, because it's like some people find it weird. And it's not because I don't enjoy having a pacer. I do, and I found it was really great every time I had someone with me, and I remember everything we talked about and etc. But I realized that this was like a solo mission for me. This was something that I was searching on my own, and that like when you are with someone, you're probably talking or you're having a conversation with a person that sometimes makes you not be present. And in Bigfoot, like I was really present. And there was this moment that someone asked me, what was the best part of the race for you? Expecting that my answer would be the Blast Zone, Mount St. Helens, like that's really beautiful. And that's like you're in another planet. But I said, no, like I really enjoyed that part. But for me, like the best part was when I was inside this forest, there was no view. It was just the forest, like trees were super tall. And I remember I was on this trail that was soft, like the ground was soft. And I was running like I had no pain. I felt really good. And I was on my own. And I had like this eruption of happiness that came totally from inside. And I can relate it to meditation, like to the same feeling that I had in meditation. Not the thing with because meditation, people relate it to the mind that is clear from thoughts, and that's right. But nobody talks about the happiness that comes with meditation. And that's what I had. I was the happiest person in the planet, and it was completely internal because it wasn't something that was triggered by a view or by something spectacular that I was seeing. It wasn't something outside of me, it was something inside of me. And that's when I said, like, this is what I came here to do. This is what I was looking for. And this is what I want to have every time that I go to a race. Like, maybe this is my goal. Like, I just want to be happy. And that was really special. And that's maybe why if you ask me, like, out of the three, what is the race you enjoyed the most? I would say Bigfoot. Maybe it was because of that. It's true that Bigfoot is like beautiful. And I had a really good day, like days, but it was very special.
I'm curious. Do you have any idea where it was that occurred?
Yeah, I do. It was
Between which?
before.
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
it was. So I think Twin Sisters is an aid station that is at the top, and then you have one more aid station, and then the finish, right?
Yes.
So it was after Twin Sisters.
Pompeii.
I think it was, yeah, it was. There was a stretch that I had to go, like I had to do an out and back. And I was on this trail, like the trees were super tall. And it wasn't the part that I could see the volcanoes or anything. I was in the forest. Like, yeah. And it was, I don't know, maybe it was like because I was towards the end of the race, and I kind of like I felt sad that the race was gonna finish. I remember having that feeling of like, oh no, I wanted this to last longer. And before, right, when I left because I didn't know that the race was finishing. I thought that I
Until you
saw
hit the road
all
section,
the
and then it can't be over quick enough.
No, I mean, I didn't look at my watch, and I didn't see the miles, and I didn't count the aid stations. And I got to this aid station where I asked, like, how many aid stations do I have to go? And I expected an answer like 4 or 5, and they told me 2.
Hmm.
And I was like, what? And that was like Sunday morning. And I said, but I plan to finish the race tomorrow noon. And the girl told me, no, you're going to finish today. And I was like, what? I don't have a hotel. It's like I got a hotel tomorrow because I counted 3 days. I'm going to do 72 hours. And she's like, no, you're not. So that's when I realized, like, I'm present because I didn't get carried away with the future.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, and so Bigfoot, I think, was like all of that together that I could compare to Tahoe, where I had a team. I had like 3 different pacers. It was different. It's not that I'm saying like it's bad at all, because I'm probably going to be criticized everywhere, and it's not that. And I respect people who want pacers, and if you can have them, use them. But I felt that my experience was so different without, that I realized that what I was looking for is that. And I think each person goes into a race like this with a different goal. Like when you said the Triple Crown, the record, and this and that, and it's like that was never in my mind, never at all. Like I could have not in my wildest dream I could expect that at all. Like I said, if I'm lucky, I'm gonna finish the 3. If I'm lucky, I'm not gonna get injured, and that was my challenge. And actually, like the Triple Crown and the record, that only crossed my mind when I had already done Tahoe and Bigfoot. And in a meeting, we looked at the times, and it was like, wow, you're like, if Moab goes well, like that's something that you can have, and then you get ambitious, right? You say, okay, maybe I can try this, but still I had to finish Moab. And it's 240 miles, and still the weather was horrible. It was like a huge challenge, right?
No,
So you always have to be like down to earth, and realize that it's, even though it's like there, and you feel like you can reach it, it's still so far. Yeah.
no, it's funny because I had a friend that was supposed to do Moab this year and he decided to postpone. So we were both watching the live stream. And I'm watching the live stream and I sent him a text and said, dude, what an excellent choice.
Yeah.
Because
It
I
was
was supposed to
miserable.
be his crew chief this year.
Yeah.
And Moab was my first 200 that I successfully completed. So we have a lot in common except for the fact that your record stands much better than mine. Uh,
But it
I
doesn't
went,
matter. Like, it
I,
doesn't matter.
I went from a DNF at, Leadville 100 to deciding that I should switch over to 200s because I needed more time because I was too slow for hundreds, I thought. And so I signed up for 200 and then basically talked Candace into letting me into the Triple Crown my first year. So I went from having never run more than 100K to
Wow.
trying the Triple Crown of 200. So I'm more even more less intelligent from that standpoint. But you know, I will say I think it's really cool listening to you talk about it because my experience was very much similar. You know, my first time, so I DNF'd at Tahoe. You know, because I had no idea what I was doing. I went 2.5 days without sleeping. That didn't work.
Mhm.
You know, and then I went to Bigfoot and I DNF'd, but I had one of the most transformational moments of my life at Bigfoot the first time.
Mhm.
And when I went back the second time, I expected this like, and
Replicate.
repeat of that
Yeah.
performance. Instead, I just was like elated throughout and happy through that whole race
Yeah.
and had an amazing experience there to get that done the second time. But, it's really amazing. So let's talk about this weather that you had at Moab. It rained. Did
Yeah.
it snow on you?
it was like crazy because yeah, when I packed and when I got everything, I didn't know that it was gonna be like that. So I was expecting to be in the desert, right? And
Sounds
having to
familiar.
deal with having to deal with the sun and whatever, right? And then days before the race, like there's this storm coming and we are watching and it's like, oh boy, this is coming here. And to be honest, I thought I was like checking my email all the time and I said, okay, they're gonna say something. They're gonna say like change the course or cut the course or cancel the race because it was like, I don't know how bad this is gonna be because I heard like it could be pretty bad. Floodings and things like that. And so I was waiting till last minute, but then the day before the race start, like we had to get the bib and nobody said anything. So I said, maybe in the race brief. And Candice just said like, oh, so if it starts raining really hard and you hear rocks rolling, just get out and just go up. And I'm like, what? Go up where? It's like, what are you talking about? I've never been here before. Where should I go? It's like I'm on my own. I'm not have a pacer.
Right.
So it was like, oh my God. And I don't know. I think somehow, and this is something funny, and it's like a feeling, maybe call it intuition or whatever. There's the little voice inside you that said something. And the voice said, relax, it's gonna be fine, And it was just like, okay, if the weather is gonna be bad, it's gonna be bad for everybody. And a friend of mine, and Brittany knows him, he's Nick, who knows me like for many, many years. He wrote me a message that his words stuck to my head, and he said, the weather is going to make people soft, but not you. And that's what I
Wow.
told myself throughout the race is like, the
Wow.
weather's going to make people soft, but not you. And that was kind of like my mantra, because I was like, okay, maybe this is your opportunity to stand out, because I've been through like really bad weather before in adventure racing and in ultras, and I've been able to hang in. And so yeah, that was my thought. And I thought, like, if they're going on with the race, it means that it's not a risk to our lives. I don't think that they would go crazy and just say, okay, go ahead and race.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I think that what an amazing statement, honestly. I mean, I'm just sitting here thinking about how that would just resonate with you and really just be your mantra throughout that. And absolutely, there's there's no greater truth. I mean, having served 21 years in the Army, I witnessed the weather make a lot of hard men and women really soft, really
Yeah.
fast,
Yeah.
right? And there's nothing worse than being cold except for being wet and cold, right? That's the worst experience. And it's funny listening to you because Brittany and I, it's just an ongoing joke of ours. But I went to Cocodona this year
Oh,
and
yeah.
left all of my rain gear at home because I'm going to the desert. I've been to the desert numerous times running. It's never once rained on me, right? It rained on me for 40 hours.
Yeah.
The desert is cruel. I think it's like either one thing or the other. It's
Yeah.
it's cruel. Like it's yeah,
So,
that's the difference, right? Because I mean, going to the desert, maybe like I've been in the mountains so much and not in the desert so much. So I don't really know the desert. And what I found from Moab is like the desert is like it can be really scary at some points. Actually, like one part of the race that stuck to my head, and I'm explaining, like I'm telling this to everybody because it's like right there. And I remember I was in this section that was like a 20-mile section that was covered with mud throughout the entire section. And in my head, like I was super angry because I was like, it can't be. And I kept telling myself like, oh no, it can't be. And it's like, it can't. And I was falling, and I had like my shoes with this amount of mud and I was sliding and it
We
took
know.
forever. Yeah, it took forever. And I was like that. And then suddenly I looked at like the sky lit in front of me. And it was funny because it wasn't like that I saw like lightning. I saw because I could see the horizon. So there was like this straight line. And then the cloud was another, and it was like a gigantic television in front of me lighting up. And it was like bang. And I was like, what's that? And then again, bang and bang. And I was like, oh my God, that's like a really bad storm.
Hmm.
And it's coming to me. And I'm
Yeah.
stuck in the mud. And I'm alone. And I could see the wind picking up. And it was like, what do I do? I don't know. The only thing I could do was to put my jacket on. I had no other option. So I think like you're in this position where you're so vulnerable, but at the same time it's like life giving you an opportunity of becoming so strong. Because like facing this on your own is like you go into like a next level, right? Of like and then I say again, the voice said, relax, you're gonna be okay. Nothing's gonna happen. And I just, I said, okay, let's keep going. I shut my mind because I was getting angry. It's like, you can't do anything about the mud. The mud is there and it's there for everybody. So just shut up and go. And that's what I did.
Love it. I love it.
Well, that's where you said about like the decision to not have a pacer and to go minimal crew. Like you kind of said, like I get criticized or I could get criticized, and it's like I look at that so opposite of like like just shows the power and the strength of you as an individual, which then kind of ties into what you're sharing about the experience and like that moment at Bigfoot and like coming out of the other side of the Triple Crown. Like, didn't you say like a changed person?
Yeah.
Like, I
Yeah.
look at that as just like that is like the absolute beauty of our sport and beauty of an adventure like this, that's like the power and like the control of your mind to go into that experience. Like Chris and I have talked about this of like, wow, going into a 200 and choosing to not have a pacer is scary because I don't trust being alone in my own mind. And
Yeah.
like that's just to me, I look at that as like that speaks volumes of who you are as a human, but then like just the growth and development that you've obviously done for yourself to like go into that experience and like come out on the other side like changed and like happy and like all these great things that it's like I look up to that so much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, it is, it's to Brittany's point. My last 200 attempts, I've tried it, and well, it's an accurate statement to say I don't trust myself with myself, and so far it hasn't worked for me. And I have not only much respect, but I guess I would ask a question. What would you say to our listening audience or to somebody like me about how to learn or how to develop to the point where that just seems more natural, or that, what advice would you give to somebody like myself or anyone in the listening audience about, how to take on something like this with yourself without the pacers and everything? Because, one of the problems of putting together a crew and all of that is, first of all, it gets much more expensive, number one. Then it becomes challenge of managing the crew. And I found myself sometimes during a race worried about my crew, worried about like a Bigfoot, worrying that my wife and my pacer or my other crew are going to get over that pass together in that storm, or safely, and worried about them being stranded along the road with a flat tire or something, not because they might not get to me, but truly worried about the crew, right? So I'm just curious.
Yeah. So my advice, and it's gonna sound funny, simplify. Simplify. Um, the more things you have, the more problems you can have, right?
Yeah,
So
for sure.
if you're on your own and you have your drop bags, the only thing you have to do is run. You don't have to worry about anybody. You can take care of yourself because you know how to do that. And if you don't, that's your opportunity to learn, right? Because we came to this world alone and we're going to go alone. So it's like, I think that this is the big thing, right? Because you don't need, I feel like, why I don't see the other side. Like I don't see a point of having like all that, because in the end it's your experience and you are the person who is there trying to find something. I don't say that our goals are the same, but I think that one thing is good for everybody, and it's to simplify, because it's right. Like having, I realized that if I have people with me, I waste time with stupid things.
Yeah.
Because if I'm on my own, I go into the aid station and I just do what I have to do. I
And
eat, I change if I have to change, and I leave. But if I have people there, I try to stay, I tend to stay there longer, right? So not that I think like having a crew is really good, but for example, my case in Bigfoot, I had a crew. I had one person with me, but Bigfoot, and you've been there, it's really difficult to get to the aid stations. So it's impossible that your crew is going to get everywhere. They're probably going to get to some points. And I had drop bags everywhere. And I told him, if you can't go to the aid stations, don't worry about me. I'm fine. I'm totally fine. It's like, you don't have to go. You sleep, you do whatever you have to do. And if you want to be there at some point, I'll be happy to see you. But you don't have to be there. And that was really good, because there was an aid station that he had to be there and he wasn't, because he didn't get there in time. It's so long of a drive, it's like, oh, you went too fast. And I'm like, oh yeah, it's just because the drive is really long. And when I got there, he wasn't there. I got my drop bag, I ate, I put things in my backpack, and I left. So one of the things I think is helpful is trying to simplify things a little bit, because in the end, all that preparation, everything you bought that you thought you were going to eat, you're not going to eat all of that. Come on, right? Who does? It's crazy. We go crazy. We say like, oh, I need all. You don't need that. It's like in the aid station, they have plenty of things, and you can do it on your own, because in the end, it's just running.
Mm-hmm.
Advice that I give to the people I coach, and that I try to work on that a lot, because it's what I use, is be present. Stay in the present, especially when you're doing a distance that is that long. Because if your mind, I felt Moab, first aid station, I was done. I dehydrated. I felt horrible. And I left, and I had to sit, like I got my electrolytes. I left, and I had to sit down on a rock and watch people go by, because I was done. If I had to think that I still had to go that long, like mentally that would burn. But then I thought, it's just the beginning. Come on, right? Give yourself your time. It's normal. Like that's a lot on your body. Like you were resting for 2 days and now you start running, and it's normal that your body is going like, what's going on? So just relax, sit, eat, reset, and go. And actually, when I got to aid station 2, where I had my crew, I come in saying, I need a reset. I need a reset. And they were like, what do you need? It's like a reset. I need to change clothes, change socks, and I'm gonna start the race again. That was my thought. It's like, okay, forget that and start everything over again. And from there on, I had 100 miles until I saw my crew again.
Yeah.
So I left saying, I feel horrible now, Bye. I'll see you later. And they go like, what do you need to? I'm like, don't worry, I will. I'll do my thing. And that's what I did. I just took it easier, slowed down, started feeling better. And then when my body was responding again, it was like, okay, now I can do this. But always, always, I was focused on what I was doing in that moment. And I never, like, I didn't think about the 100 miles and that I was only going to see them in 100 miles. No, it was like all now. And like to the point that when I got to the last aid station, I think I had like almost 20 like 19 miles, 18 miles. It's a long way. I mean, you're tired. The weather is still bad. You're cold. You want to finish. Like your body is like beat up. I had like a key tape in my ankle that strangled my ankle. My blood circulation stopped and I didn't know it was that. My body was like crooked. I was like, everything was wrong. But I was like, this is like, when you go back to your life, you would give like all the money in the world to be here right now because this is the best time of your life, you know? And I was aware of that. So everything I did, I was like, this is amazing, you know? I'm here and this is amazing. And I knew that I was in like a comfortable position where I wouldn't catch first place, but third place wouldn't catch me either. So I allowed myself to just enjoy that moment. And I was so present that that went by like that. And even though I had to finish the race walking because I got to the pavement and I couldn't jog because my pain was like next level and I absolutely couldn't jog, I was still like, let me take this in because this is so special. And I remember telling, because I had a crew with me that was filming and they made a documentary. And I told them, like, I remember when I just got into the place where I had the finish line right there. And I told him, like, I could jog this part, but I don't want to because I worked so hard to be here. And it's just going to vanish like that. And I don't want it. Like, please just let me stay in this moment forever, you know?
Yeah.
I felt like I could sit and just wait, you know, and not cross the finish line because that's like it goes by like that fast, you know, and then everything is gone. So at least now that I miss it, I know that I enjoyed it and that every step in that journey was nice and that I was there and that I was present. So I stay with that feeling of I couldn't have done more in terms of being there and soaking it in and having the time of my life because I did it. That's
Beautiful.
that's the victory, not the record. I
Yeah.
mean, the record is amazing, yeah, but the record, who cares, right?
Yeah.
In the end, because this is the only thing that I really take home. And
Yeah.
this is what will stay with me forever.
It's
So
absolutely beautiful
yeah.
to listen to you describe it. I mean, there's already a waiting list to get into most of these races, but after everybody hears you talk, it'll get much bigger.
Yeah, I
uh,
mean, yeah, each person will have their own, right? I can't say that, you know, because I'm saying this, you're gonna be there and you're gonna have the same. But the step to it is, I think, is this is like you need to work your mind and you need to work a few things inside your head so that this can happen because you need to give it an opportunity for it to happen and you need to be aware of certain things because if you're not, it's never going to happen.
yeah, no, I think it's just really fascinating to listen to you describe it and talk about it. And I think one of the interesting things is in your coaching experience, what takeaways do you think you'll take from this year's experience and perhaps tying back into your Cocodona experience? Like, has this changed the way that you talk to your athletes that you coach, or is this changing the way that you your perspective on ultra running as a whole?
Yeah, I think both, right? Because what we try, and this is like our philosophy in peak run performance, and Brittany is the same, I'm sure, is just like there is a relationship from coach to the athlete, right? That is so important because like everybody can study, everybody can be a coach if they want, but then where's the human part, because if not, it's like AI is going to take over and you can just ask chat gpt what to do. But I mean, this human part and this connection, and seeing that someone is in a situation where some of the things or some of the insights you have might help them work and navigate their struggles in a race and then in life in general, because what they learn in a race is something that they will take to their life, is important, right? And so I think from this personal part where I think I changed in this journey from before the Triple Crown or before Cocodona until now, like I'm a different person. Everything I learned, I think from a personal level, is something that I try to share with my athletes, and I would love them to have the same experience as me, to enjoy their races, see it as a privilege that they are fortunate to be there. How many people in this world can do this, right? So you need to feel like very special if you are there and if you can start. So this is one thing. And then from the coaching perspective, because I was my guinea pig, because I want to risk and I want to try and I want to learn and I want to pass it on. I want to be a better coach. And it's true that if you are doing whatever course or whatever ultra running course, they're not talking about 200 miles. They're talking about 100. And then 200 is like such a different sport. I said it's like talking about swimming and football. It's just like two things that are completely different, even though they're all running, but they're very, very, very different. And I felt like as I felt a little bit more confident in my experience and in my running, I risked a little bit more. So I think like from Tahoe to Bigfoot, I took a step further in risking, and it could have gone wrong, but I think I made right decisions. And same thing translated to Moab. In Moab, like I changed things that like equipment wise, it's like, oh, okay, I'm gonna try this and not that. Maybe this feels better than that. I saw myself making stupid decisions before the race started, and I realized I was doing that, so I could change that in time. So I think, yeah, there's so much you learn. And ironically, I said, like, I think that training for 200 miles, I see myself as like a soldier who's going to war, and I need to be prepared to do anything. So that's my philosophy, is like be as strong as you can, physically and mentally. Like, and then I'm talking about like physical strength, like do a lot of strength work, do a lot of yoga, mobility, everything, like all the extras, because that's hours of activity in your training log. And if you try to run all those hours, maybe you're not going to start the race because you're going to get injured. But if you're doing like a lot of hours of activity, which are not necessarily running, maybe that's a good thing.
No, I think it's one of the things Brittany and I have been talking about a lot, and I think Brittany, you could talk to this, but the, you know, in first of all, going to what you're talking about with the 200s, the thing I love about the 200s is it's a toss up. I mean, you have no idea what you're going to get. For somebody like me who's going to be out there for 4 or 5 days, well, I'm going to see all the weather. Okay. I'm not going to see the weather that you see in, 2 days. I'm going to see everything. I'm going to see 4 sunrises. And it is an amazing experience. I love that part of the challenge. But I can say from the back of the pack that even if you are not successful in a 200, it's a journey, and it's a transformational, life changing journey that I don't even get wrapped around the axle on whether or not it's a finish or not. It's what I learn in each one and what I can take with me to the next level. But I think Brittany and I were talking before this about this cross training, about this other work that you do. And I just witnessed it in some of our Warrior Trail athletes at Mammoth 200. Amber, Amber just crushed her first 200, and she's just so strong physically, not just as a runner,
Yeah.
maybe even more strong gym strong. She's like a former cross trainer, and just really, really fit overall. And I think when you move into the multi-day setup and you're carrying a much heavier pack and you're sleeping in the dirt and doing those things, that total fitness is much more relevant, much more important than it is in 100 and definitely 100K or anything else. You got to be a runner to go do really, really well at a 50-mile pace. But it's a totally different animal, and it is a different sport. So it is great hearing you say that. Brittany, you want to talk about?
Yeah. Well, I was just gonna say, like, when chatting with Amber after Mammoth, it was some similarities here where she said, like, she simplified. She's like, I didn't want pressure because I didn't want to feel like I was behind. I wanted to go and like be in the moment and just experience it how I was going to experience it. And then she talked a lot about um, just choosing to be happy because she was out there and she didn't know what a 200 was going to feel like in all of the experiences where she had said, like there was a time that because it was her parents that were currying her. So it's like they're 70-year-olds, and they're like, oh, we were so excited because we thought we got the best crew spot. And she was kind of like, well, actually, no, it wasn't that great. But she's like, I could have gotten frustrated about that or been derailed of like, oh, I had to go here and then I have to go back and go off course or whatever. She's like, but instead I just chose to like be super grateful that they were there
Yeah.
and like, be happy about it. And it's like, I think, I have not run a 200, but I did a long FKT adventure. And it was like, I guess my experience kind of matches that of, I remember coming out of that experience when I was like, the running part, sure, was important, but it's like, I did not respect the mental training I should have done to go in, because that was the harder part in my mind of, like I can go and run forever. Like durability is one thing for sure, but it's like I didn't realize how hard it would be to like keep my head on the right track because it's just dig in and keep going. And I think you speak to that like a ton, but then like Amber's experience highlighted that too. And it's like that is such an amazing thing to like yeah, to like connect with and then try to help others learn for themselves. And it really like now we're just marketing great for a 200-mile race because it's that whole like exploration of like discover yourself, which I think we're all looking for that really.
Yeah.
It's really fantastic just to hear your story, Manu. I've gotten to know you a little bit through our calls. I got to meet you for, you know, 90 seconds on a trail on top of and now I discovered that you were at maybe the lowest point of your race when I ran into you at Tahoe, which is sort of funny to me because you looked completely effortless running down the hill at me and smiling, big smile and happy, and I was like, she's irritating me right now. And I just want to point out for most people the best part of the race is the first 100K, not the last 100K. So I don't know what you're doing there, but whatever you're doing is pretty awesome.
Yeah, for me it's the opposite. Like I don't feel well in the beginning and I know that. So it's fine. Yeah, I respect my body and say, "Okay, take your time. Just do whatever you need to do and I'll wait. I'll be patient." And I think yeah, being patient is a big part of it, especially in this distance.
Well, it's a
Because
word I don't understand at all. This is part of my ongoing challenge with ultra running.
it's something
Um,
you learn,
I'm,
right? It's like you have no choice.
I have no choice. I like
You have
that.
no choice. It's like in this kind of race, you have to be patient.
No, that's
There is
absolutely true.
no other. You can't go around that. Yeah.
Manu, in closing, I mean, before we wrap up this amazing conversation, is there any message that you'd really like to share about you, about what you do for people, and you know, why somebody would maybe choose you as their next coach, whether it be for their first 20-mile trail race or the Triple Crown of 200s?
Uh, well, I don't know. I think one of the things I have already said is that I feel that probably like my, I don't know, the best thing I could have as a coach is that my experience has helped me go through many things. And I've been like in really bad spots in this part and good ones. And I feel that I can help more than like I can help with the training, but I think I can help a lot, like being also a friend, because I care about the athletes I train. I care about the athletes I coach, and I ask, and we normally like I need to know what's going on in their lives to a certain level so that I can adjust the training, because sometimes it's like things aren't going well and they're not going to go well because there's something big going on. And you need to know that. I mean, a coach has to be more than just, you're not a machine, you're a friend in the end, right? And some of the advices I remember giving to the athletes I coached that who were going into races with a lot of personal problems that they were taking into the race and thinking, okay, in the race, I'm going to solve all my problems. Like, no, you can't do that, right? You're here to run, and running is actually like something apart from your problem. So just separate that. Don't go into the race with the mission of solving a problem, because you're gonna, in the end, you're gonna get annoyed. Like, you're there to run and just run and enjoy the opportunity, and then things will fall into place, right? And so, yeah, I don't know, I think that in the personal level is like where I feel I help a lot of athletes the most, because I understand that they are going through things, and I try to adjust the training to what their moment is, and not just think that you can just power through whatever is going on through your life, because then you're just gonna, you're gonna hit a wall. It's gonna happen.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's really interesting to hear you talk about that. It's one of the reasons why we've partnered at the Warrior Trail Foundation with Peak Run Performance with Brittany and you, Manu, and we're honored to have you as our coach, one of our coaches, and just thrilled about the future opportunities that our athletes, our Warrior Trail athletes, will have in working with this amazing team of brilliant and physically fit and amazing coaches here. You two women are just a bright ray of sunshine for the athletes that get to work with you. So we're really thrilled at that. I guess before signing off, I need to ask, what's next for you?
Good question, huh?
Like,
so so
after the Triple Crown, I mean, after you hit a triple, don't you need to hit a Grand Slam? I mean,
what are you gonna do? Yeah, Arizona Monster. No. So there is, but then that depends on like how the weeks go. But there is a possibility of doing a backyard ultra in December, which is like near home. And but that I haven't done anything since the race except for my job. So I've done tons of yoga and strength, but no running, no cycling, no cardio. I feel like I'm starting to get to the point where I could do something, but I felt like I needed to give myself the time, and I'm glad I did it. That I'm not, because I'm seeing like people who were in the Triple Crown and they're running like and racing, and I'm like, no, just take it easy. So if I feel ready when the race is near, I will probably hop in and see, just give it a go and see how it goes. And then for next year, I still have to see, but one of the big possibilities is to go to Tor de Gens in Italy. Yeah, which is 200 miler, but with like crazy amount of elevations. I don't
My
know.
dream race.
Yeah, 75,000 feet of
Yeah, just a little.
positive gain. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. But probably that's, yeah, we'll see. But that's a big goal. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing your resilience with us. Brittany, you want to talk about where we can learn about or contact Manu? And
Yeah, so first of all, I will just be a big testament of like getting to work with Manu as a coach and as a colleague and as just a friend. It's like she has helped me immensely. And I feel like I have seen because I get to be, while she's doing these super amazing adventures, I'm on the group WhatsApp message of the OGs from Cocodona where we're all, I mean, it's super cool to just see like the community that has come around you and it reflects who you are absolutely. And like it's cool to get to know some of your athletes too, where it's like I view them as friends because I've gotten to know them through you, of just how much they are so grateful for what you do and like just embody all of like, just the mindset, the being present, and then the joy for the sport. So I think that's so fantastic. And at Peak Run Performance, we are incredibly grateful to have you. So you can reach out to Manu at Coach Manu at peakrunperformance.com. You can check us out at peakrunperformance.com and you can send us a message that way. But yeah, or follow her on Instagram. Her handle is Manu Vilaseca.
Thank you. Now everybody knows my name.
yeah, yeah.
That's
When's the documentary come out? That's the bigger question.
Pretty soon. So I saw it already and it's really nice.
Oh,
Very
yay.
It's
nice.
like for me, it's probably like the best thing that they could have done for me. And I'm really happy, really glad that they got that on video. So yeah, I think that that's now like with Mount to Coast, and they will decide how they do it and when they, but it's ready, which means I think pretty soon. So yeah, I'll share that with you guys. Yeah, for sure.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for sharing your resilience and for being a amazing representative of what we do at the Warrior Trail Foundation. And thank you so much for your time, ladies.
Thank you.
Awesome.